Hey everybody, hey everybody. This is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I'm here today doing some talking, but we're also doing some testing. So while we're talking about what we need to talk about, I also wanted to be doing some testing with this system because it quite not was working. We were supposed to be online like a 30 minutes ago, but it didn't quite work out. But welcome everybody. Thank you so much for participating in this time we're going to spend together just to talk and share. Now, the title was supposed to be changed. Let me see if the situation has changed it. It doesn't look like it did. So now I need to go all the way into the system and fix it because it's a little crazy right now. So just hold on, everybody, as we're going to be doing some testing, some music and other stuff to kind of keep this train going. And then we'll dive right into what we need. So what I wanted to do was go back to gee, guys, why can't something just work the way it's supposed to, y'all? All right, let's see if I can go over here and make some changes to the channel because some of the changes wouldn't go. I don't know why. And then we'll dive right into it. Okay, I think I see what's happening. Back to, all right, so there we see it says, well, that's not true, but we'll put some, I guess we didn't put anything in there. So let me see if I do a come out of this and then go back in, will it change? Is it changing the stuff? All right, this is really weird. So yeah, everybody, I'm just doing testing right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about stuff because with this technology, you got to test it like crazy. I think I do have my updated title. That's working now. And now I'm just trying to make sure everybody can hear and see me, which I think you can. All right, so that's good. Yeah, I think we're on the way to where we need to be. So we're so grateful and thankful everybody's here today. Please share. We're just going to sit and talk a little bit about a few things that's been out there concerning my family, myself, regarding some legal matters. I wanted to talk about Diddy co-conspirators that are out there. As a gentleman, he has a great podcast. His name is Murad. Let me find him. He probably doesn't know what's going on out there. A lot of people think that we're following a case. Now, we've been doing our case, my godson and I, for the last 10, 12 years. And this past fall, we were working on updating things. Okay. Updating things because in the spring, I had to do some, what they call emergency filings or restraining order filings because of some circumstances and situations regarding the cases. A lot of times when you're in these cases and things are happening, especially if there's any type of allegations of corruption, fraud, etc., it's a mess. And you basically have to chase fraud. You got to chase fraud and do what you got to do. Now, the court is supposed to help you navigate that. The court is supposed to give you some direction on what you need. So we filed a district court case first in Philadelphia and then now in New Jersey. So some people that are out there are just mischaracterizing what's going on because they don't know. So I'm going to try to help some of you know what's going on so that you will be in the know and not have any kind of confusion. So that's why I'm on here today. So the first part was to make sure the testing of our equipment was the way it needs to be because I do other stuff, right? And sometimes things get infused and it can get really messy. But my name is Dr. Lillie M. Coley. I'm happy to be here today. This is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. We're basically a podcast to help people with their legal story. I also talk about my story on how the tragedy of my parents, God allowed that to happen to turn tragedy into an opportunity to me to share with the world and not be in despair and blah, blah, blah. Even though it's hard to do, it's not impossible. So the first thing I wanted to do was to go after looking at the information some people put on in regard to what our case is about, the current case now. So once the case was in Philadelphia, it was in the family court by Rymir Satterthwaite's mother. And then once I took her child as my legal child, then I took him across the water, so to speak, up to New Jersey. And then we became, he came into another jurisdiction. So in that particular arena, a series of things took place. And the series of things, as I just mentioned, was dealing with the restraining order towards the end of this year. We did actually last year, and the things that evolved prior to. So what I wanted to do was to talk about that, so you can understand that the case started out as a paternity case, but right now it's a fraud case in the United States District Court involving circumstances and situational allegations of fraud. In this case, jurisdiction fraud, where someone did not represent their property holdings of their assets, so to speak. And as a result, we lost the case, or I lost the case that I submitted to the state of New Jersey. So some people got that confused. They're thinking we're still looking for paternity. This is not a paternity case. So one of the things, the persons that I wanted to call out was Murad. I need Murad. He is a blog person. I'm going to find his blog right now. So I'm just going to take my time because we're still doing what I call issues or concerns. We're doing some testing, but I'm also trying to do some talking. So at any rate, let's just kind of walk with me with this for a minute so I can get all that for you, because somehow things were just kind of just like weird when we were doing what we were doing. So now what I'm trying to do is share with you on some things that that might have been a concern. So I wanted to call him out so he can know that this case is not about paternity. He's been saying things on his blog, which is fine. He's entitled to do so. He's not informed because he's not reading the actual lawsuit that we put in there. So I'm looking for him now. And you guys kind of know him real well. But he's got a really good podcast. Quite a few of them do. And this one here, he talks a little bit about Rymir having that he's not going to get a paternity case, a paternity what do you call it, test. And he's not looking for one. No, everybody, he's not looking for one. So I'm trying to see where it is. I think it's this one here, because he's got a lot of videos, everybody. And it can be really messy. So we want to try to make sure we clarify some things. So that's the reason why I'm on here now, to try to clarify some things. And I'm just going to take my time in doing it. So just hold on, everybody. Hold on. Because it's a lot going on with this. Okay, it's not this video, apparently. Because I had the video, but he's got so many videos, I can't keep up with it. I think it's this one. I think I got it now. So this is when they were talking about Rymir's teeth, which was really crazy. For those of you who don't know, it looks like the Daily Mail did a comparison of my godson's teeth with Jay-Z's, and made their own assessment, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to let him know that we're not looking for, or he's not looking for a paternity test, just so he's clear on that. And he can stop kind of hammering that down to his audience, because nobody's looking for that. You don't have his name in here. Okay. So I'm just going to show you a little piece of the video, and then we'll go from there. But everybody's entitled to their own opinion. We get it. But at the end of the day, we also want you to be informed correctly. Have the right information, because information does bring about revelation. All right. So this is like testing. His name is not in there. So I'm looking for it. I think it's around this area here. So I'm just going to pause it. Then I'm going to play a clip piece so y'all can hear it. And then we'll talk about it on the other side. But I wanted people to know that the comments that he's saying, so people can understand, his audience and everybody else, that sometimes you got to go back and look at the actual documents. The case started out as a paternity case, but it's not a paternity case any longer. And it has not been one since the very beginning, because when we believe allegations of jurisdiction fraud came in, that all changed everything. So therefore, that has always been the battle of the jurisdiction fraud, not the battle of the paternity. Although the paternity is something Rymir is looking to do what he wants to do with, that's fine, but the overall legal issue of the case is not caught up in that. So that's what I want to try to get to you guys. So here I am playing, if I can get it over here. And I think I probably shouldn't have used Zoom, but I did, so it's not a problem. And then what I'm going to do is see if I can play him up here and make sure the sound is on. And then you all can see him. Just going to play a little piece of this clip.
Beyonce when she was very young, and let alone, you know, wanting Aaliyah, then he definitely was doing things with other people. That's just how I see it. In my opinion, it is a theory, not fact. So I don't think that Rymir is going to get justice. I don't think that Jay-Z is going to do the DNA test. He's going to find legal loopholes. Look what he's doing with this case with Busby. He's finding legal loopholes. He's wanting to get it dismissed. They're coming for the credibility of Busby. They're not playing fair. It's worse than a match of Wimbledon at this point. So what makes you think that he's going to suddenly start playing fair with Rymir? He's been ignoring it. He's going to continue ignoring it. So Rymir can continue to do all the interviews that he wants. I feel like he needs to drop this case, find peace, and move on with his life. Because Jay-Z is not going to do this. He's not going to do the test. And even if it does do the...
So just so you know, and then we can send this back, I'm going to let him know, Mira Pirelli, we are not looking for anything in this regard for this action, this legal action that we're doing. We're not looking for anything, neither is Rymir in regard to testing, just so you know. And we're probably going to have to either get you to see the information or read it or whatever the case is, but we understand that. So I just want you to know that our case is not about paternity, and he doesn't need to drop it. He doesn't need to go on with his life. He's doing something that's outside of that. So just so you know.
The test, it opens up the wounds for potential other illegitimate children, fake or not, wanting him to do a paternity test. He doesn't want to do all that. So he's not going to do this one. But it's the side-by-side teeth.
Well, we think the reason why he's not going to do this one has nothing to do with other people opening up. We believe it has something to do with his mother's age. So just to be clear, so that we can understand that there's other understandings out there and other things you need to know that might be a narrative, not so much as the general population. If somebody's been doing anything for 12 years, everybody, it's got to be something outside that. I'm just trying to be honest here. So it's not just what people see on the surface. It's a lot of times it's something a lot deeper. So I just want to make sure, because I know there's quite a few bloggers out there saying what they're saying, and some of the information is just not correct. And part of the reason why it's incorrect is because they're not reading the transcript. They don't know what this case is about. And I want to clarify it for you so that you can understand that. And now this kind of talk about he can drop it, he can do this, it doesn't make any sense because we're not doing that anyway. And I just want to educate everybody, to inform people so they can have healthy conversations and healthy input and not be all over the place. All right, so the teeth thing I thought was kind of crazy. But again, everybody has their own opinion on what they want to do or not do. I'm not actually going to show that clipping because I'm good. I don't think it's necessary and needed for us to show my godson's teeth. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. In the state of New Jersey, he not just say New Jersey, but that's where we did what we did as far as the legal aspect. He is considered a presumptive son, and Jay-Z is considered his presumptive father, as the law reads. That's the way it is. Don't kill me. So at the end of the day, I think that some people's information and what they're talking about, what they're doing and what they're not doing, just needs to be looked at. It needs to be reviewed and it needs to be talked about so that we can have the right information. So I wanted to take questions today. I don't know if there's anybody online here who wants to come in and try to talk about questions, talk about things you have, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to get that out there so that there's a few other videos I wanted to kind of talk about, and I'm going to go to them and I'm going to talk about the ones I want to talk about. So yeah, I'm not really concerned about what somebody else says. I promise you. But I do want to clarify some things that needs to be clarified. There were a few things on, I think I saw Twitter too, people talking about Robert Graves being Rymir's father. Robert Graves is not Rymir's father. As people already saw the birth certificate, it has no father there. So I'm not going to go into that. Again, that's some information that's out there. There's clearly in a birth certificate, there's affidavits from his mother saying things. And I know I don't want to go through the long, drawn out thing of situations of trying to debunk stuff, but some things people say it's because of their own, they just want to say it. Nonetheless, that's just what they're saying. Now, there was a young man I got some information from. His name is Hatchet. He kind of had some really good stuff on his podcast. Hatchet TV, Ratchet. I always call him Hatchet, but I really want to call him Ratchet because he had some similar problems that we had, far as somebody trying to mess with the internet, somebody trying to mess with the volume, blah blah blah. Now he had some things about Allie Carter, and she was talking about the things that are happening in Hollywood now with the fires and the cover up and blah blah blah. See, one of the things about good and evil, and the things about living and having what we call the darkness of the world, people will go through great lengths to cover up. They said the cover up is always worse than the crime. Now, why do people do it? I guess they just don't want to get caught. They want nobody to know that they got these issues or concerns. Some of the things we found in our research, if you will, or our journey, was that people were caught up in rituals and things and beliefs because of where they wanted to go in their careers. It's the same situation, unfortunately, when some people get into corporate America or in certain positions, they feel like they can sleep their way up the top or harass their way up the top or do whatever they want to people that are under them. So it's a power thing. So at the end of the day, we as people of America have to learn how to we got to learn how to do the right thing when it comes down to this. Oh, but why is this green? All right, hold on, everybody. It's something going on here, but everything's over there good. Okay, no problem. Okay, it was another screen. All right, it was two screens. There's a lot of screens around here. But yeah, so I'm going to just play a couple of those things on his station or his channel, which I thought was really good because this is talking about the cover up that some things might be going on in Hollywood. And sometimes we have to stop and look and listen and see what the real deal is. Then you can understand how ordinary people or little people like myself, and I'm not a little person in a bad sense, it's more like as far as economic, and I'm still doing good because God is good. But what I'm trying to say, I'm not at certain levels where other people are as billionaires and millionaires, that people can do stuff at levels so that they can try to, I guess, like they say, hide it and or not be exposed because they are at that level. Everyday people such as myself, we're trying to all make it and be all that we need to be, but we get it that if you're trying to cover the cover up, you're gonna have some problems. So here is Ratchet TV. I want to play a few of this, so I think you guys need to hear, if you haven't heard already, about some of the things that are going on with the fires.
Houses there, allegedly, and everything I say is alleged. Beyonce, I just find it very odd. Well, no, it's not even odd. I just think you got perfect timing. The world was just going in on your man. Oh, the world was going in on your man, Beyonce. All of a sudden, you get the first ever Christmas halftime show at a football game. This shit don't even exist. You just did it. And in that shit, you kept dropping subliminal messages and a bunch of imagery that's showing you ready for the ritual.
I wasn't really trying to
the
put
all-white ritual, and you sacrificed
really
your
with
daughter.
the fires,
allegedly.
Because I don't really care.
You made sure Blue Ivy came up there. I don't give a fuck how y'all feel about this. It is what it is.
Yeah, let me see.
We're gonna uncover the biggest X ring The fuck you talking about? Because I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna go the route my chat says. It's just I had it a different way. It don't mean nothing. She ain't like Jaguar to me. I think I give her more credibility than Jag at this. I appreciate that. We just hit $102. Thank you. I start right there. Now there's a bigger network over together. Y'all are 1 point should have 1,400 likes and 1,400 votes on that poll. Let's continue.
In this area, this neighborhood houses a ton of stars. Ben Affleck, Tom Hanks.
Damn, Allie Carter was on it. And right before this, she said to make sure you filter your words. Look, this is coming from somebody. I lost everything in a fire. Okay, and ain't nobody filtered their words or helped me. So celebrities get no difference. They've got the money. They've got the wealth to recover. People that are not celebrities, they'll be forgotten about. They're going to be okay. Sorry and a shame to happen to people. I wish that on nobody, but Allie Carter did say that this was going to happen recently. Tom Hanks lives in the neighborhood. Beyonce's house. It was a bunch of people. But I'm not going to filter my words, though.
So Tom Hanks and Beyonce both got houses there. Allegedly. And everything I say is alleged. Beyonce. I just find it very odd. Well, no, it's not even odd. I just think you got perfect timing. The world was just going in on your man. Oh, the world was going in on your man, Beyonce. All of a sudden, you get the first ever Christmas halftime show at a football game. This shit don't even exist. You just did it. And in that shit, you kept dropping subliminal messages and a bunch of imagery that's showing you ready for the ritual. The all-white ritual, and you sacrificed your daughter, allegedly. You made sure Blue Ivy came up there. I don't give a fuck how y'all feel about this. It is what it is. This is the truth. I wouldn't even say you sacrificed. I would say you were given an offering. Let me rephrase it. I apologize for that. I misquote. That's a misquote. What I meant was you didn't sacrifice her. You offered her. My opinion. I feel like you were given an offering. And then you kept saying, don't mess with my man. Don't mess with my man. Don't mess with my man. Beyonce, you kept saying that shit over and over and over and over. You kept telling the world, don't mess with your man. Message received. Then all of this stuff starts happening. Jay-Z starts harassing everybody. All this shit gets real loose. I'm connecting these dots on everybody tonight. Get the likes up. Double tap that screen. I don't know if y'all caught wind of the subliminal messages Beyonce was giving out, but it seems like everybody that really wants to see y'all fall, they're all under attack. Everybody's under attack right now.
Allie Carter did say that there will be fires. There will be fires for the purpose of burning evidence. And I think it's very interesting how, for the longest time, she spoke about the Getty, what's underneath the Getty, what's happened to her in specific.
Am I the only one getting chills right now? Is it just me? Maybe it is just me.
At the Getty. And look what just burned down. The Getty. Crazy, right? Let's see what's next.
Let's see what's next. Allie Carter said there will be fires. They are burning evidence. The Getty is gone. Let's let that sink in. The Getty. Does anybody know what the Getty is? Some people are like, what is the Getty? It's underground tunnels connected out there in Ish. They said, that's crazy. The Getty Museum. Man. the Getty burned, wasn't that the main place? Oh my God, it's over. It's at the museum. So all of the evidence is allegedly gone. All of the evidence is gone, y'all. They've gotten rid of everything. The tunnels are gone. They're no longer here anymore. Hollywood is disconnected. It's no longer a harbor. I just got chills all down my arms and everything. It's just, I don't know if y'all can see that shit. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I got chills everywhere right now. But I've always told y'all, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than we. What we're about to do over here, we're going to break the internet, and we're going to put all eyes on us while we're doing it. Now, it's up to y'all to get this message out by sharing the live and double tapping that screen. But what we're going to uncover, if they don't get rid of everything in time and they're scrambling, because everything that we're covering over here, have you noticed that we're the one platform they just don't want to talk? They want us to just shut up and go away. They just want us to just shut up, but we won't. We're the only platform that stands on 10. We're the only platform that continues to drill everybody, and we're never going to stop. Salute to Miss Mara for being a member for 21 months. Didn't they shut down Hollywood today? This makes a lot of sense. Salute. Now you waking up. Salute, salute, salute. That's not true.
So the whole point of playing Ratchet TV, everybody, was to let you see what's going on. If you think, and I was trying to say earlier, that if people such as myself, which is considered an ordinary, basic, normal person, not super rich, not super whatever, if stuff is going on at the top where people are trying to cover up and to cover up and to cover up, what do you think is going on at the bottom? So I don't think it's really far-fetched for people to not know our story and some of the things that happened to me and my family members, including my godson, Rymir Satterthwaite, regarding the system or the court. There is great lengths that people go through to cover up stuff. That's the point. We're going to be talking about some of these things on the Keep It Real with Dr. Lil. One, because of the hours. Just like Ratchet TV said, we have to talk about it. Some of this stuff, for some of us, it traumatizes us. For some of us to see things happen, especially the children. I got a ministry of children. But at the end of the day, I get it that people have to go through the process of life. But when you come and talk about other people's story, is the whole reason why, in part, I'm doing these podcasts is because I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. You need to have the information right. It's not going to get all the details because all the details are long-winded. But at the end of the day, you'll get enough information and you can do plenty of research on our case. The cases that, for at least for us, were in the public since 2010. And it would continue to be in the public because you had parties that were considered to be associate parties and other parties. Everybody had files. And the files got talked about and shared and did whatever they did, and across state lines. So at the end of the day, this is just what's normal. So I'm on today to talk about the things regarding, just like the title says, the title of this podcast is dealing with all these legal jargons that people go through and sometimes people get hurt from. There's a lot of stuff that happens when you're dealing with legal cases, especially criminal. And then you have people that do have money who think they can buy everybody because there's no other way they're going to win. That's why they do it. So for our situation, for what some of the things we've been through and our civil law cases were horrific, they were horrible, and they were not good. And then you find now that this stuff is going on at this level with Hollywood, if you will. And now it looks like, from what people said. Now, I'm not really following Allie Carter. I'm not saying what she's saying is true or not true, because I think she is a real victim. But at the end of the day, I don't know too much about the situation as far as the burning of the place. But, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. I'm trying to see what's going on here. Just hold on, everybody. It's a couple things happening at one time. And I'm going to try to see if I can. Okay, there you go. At any rate, but look at that. The whole reason of playing that clip was to let you see what they were saying, that these houses and people were burning things because there was tunnels under there. But let me just make an announcement. You can run, but you can't hide. Whatever is in the dark will come to the light. Whether you believe in God or not, the way it's designed, everybody, that the word or the will of God, which is his word, is in the earth. You know, reap what you sow, do what right with your neighbor. All these things are in the earth, whether you believe it or not. If you keep living, you will see the manifestation of certain things that will happen. And those manifestations will happen to you, whether you're a believer of God or not. If you are, there is a different path. But if you're not, there's another path. You make the decision on what you want. My job as a minister of the gospel, my job as an empowerment person for the community is to help people help themselves. So when I find myself in a situation like this, I don't take it personally, right? I understand that God allowed things to happen for me to pray about the situation, pray for the people involved, pray for the judges, etc., etc. And the hope and the prayer is that something will be said or done in their lives, or they hear something and want to change. That's what this is all about. But the whole thing about the way people are talking, they need to talk about some of these things because these things are therapeutic. And that's why freedom of speech is so important, because not being able to talk and say what you got to say can be devastating for some people. It can be unhealthy. Now, there are times when you need to hold things in, and there's times not. Now, people say, well, why are you talking now? I was talking before. You know, I talked to certain people, and I really didn't talk like this in a platform because I was trying to protect my godson. Because of the emotional thing and the toll it took on him, I wasn't going to add to it. But now that he's older, he's wiser, he's actually able to talk himself, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it now because, first of all, I need it too. I do need it, y'all. There was trauma and things that I experienced in the courtroom that were horrific. They were unconstitutional, they were unhealthy and inhumane. And I'm going to stand on that. And I said back then, like I'm saying now, I needed people to know what happened to me. I needed people to understand what took place. So today is not a time for me to go crazy and let my hair down, but it is a time for me to share. And I wanted to talk about those three things. The three things was obviously dealing with Diddy's case, the co-conspirators, because according to reports, there is going to be the naming of what's going to happen. And the whole point of a lot of these blogs and talking and all this is for you to understand that the truth will prevail. So don't do it. And then some of these things that you are choosing to do, especially with children, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you, and it's going to be a problem because the mass majority, whether they got money or not, ain't going for it. We don't want children hurt. We don't want anything to happen to adults either, but definitely not children. So the co-conspirators are coming to play, and they were somebody there. I guess, you know, think people can't do some of their sins by themselves. Diddy's co-conspirators. I know some of you asked me to talk about Kim and things regarding Kim Porter and why she would even stay in a relationship, and talk about also Cassie and some of the things that she put up with that caused this relationship to go 10 years. And the people, even though they're wrong, they look at you as somebody that you want this, what I want to say, I won't say enabler. You're forthright with it, or you're okay with it. That's what I guess I'm trying to say. That you want to allow it because you want to allow it because you want a certain lifestyle, or you want this. I don't know what it is, but nonetheless, sometimes when a person, whoever the abuser is, gets away with it for so long, they think you want it. That's what I'm trying to say, everybody. Lord have mercy. So here we say the Diddy co-conspirators are going to be recognized. They're going to be brought to the surface, and they're going to be exposed, if you will. So I'm trying to see why they will take me back there. Let's do that again. Hold on to everybody. Diddy's I don't know why it took me way. Oh, okay, I see why I did that. Hold on. So let me just bring this in. Because, you know, it's funny because there's so much about him, but we know he didn't do it by himself. Yeah, if one of the things is too that if you don't deal with some of the things that happen with the children who are vulnerable, you don't deal with children and the women of this country and this world correctly, the country will collapse, because there's something about evil, stinky stuff that can break people. It can break a foundation of a country, a city, and a place at its core. And sometimes you see that when things do happen to children, people who have had problems get devastated over it, and they break. And sometimes those people could be right in high places, because a lot of times, unfortunately, for some people, things have happened to them, and then when they see it happen to somebody else, then they either run from it or they run to the person and try to rescue them. But my whole point is they in some cases they seek to collapse. All right, so let me see. I thought I had the to be named. And what we got to do is we got to pray. We got to pray, everybody. We got to pray that the right people go down and do what they're supposed to do in terms of being accountable for your actions. How about that? All right, so here we have is everybody and their brother has reported on it. I was trying to get the one that I had, but now there's so many that have come forth. But there's some things that I look at and I just like to share that with people because they're so different. For me, it's different types of credibility. So this one here is the co-conspirator that we're looking at. I guess this is all right, so this is not the one. This is the Bugsby. That's the Bugsby. We don't want that one right now. I think you guys saw that. We want the co-conspirators from the ones that's going to be named up here in March or May. Yeah, it's March, I think. March. But there's so many I guess I'm gonna have to go to this one. Nope, I don't want that one. That's too much like that's too much. So we'll do Forbes. The documentary is released. All right, so in a nutshell, this is it right here. And basically it's saying that in May of this year, or March rather, there is going to be a list of people to be named in Diddy's case regarding his allegations against him. And the reason why I hunted to find it and wanted to show it is because the whole thing of the evolution of wrong, evil, mischief, hiding, all the stuff that goes along with legal stuff, jargon and things they're trying to cover, uncover, what have you, will have its day. And sometimes you have your day in different ways. Sometimes it's in court, sometimes it's out of court, sometimes it's before court. But nonetheless, here is a great article I thought you all would want to look at in terms of the conspirators and to keep things in mind about doing the wrong thing and knowing that people's sins, wrongdoings, evil, etc., will find them out. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So let's understand it to be true that if you have done what you do and you live in this country, that we believe that we need to follow the Constitution. We believe that everybody has to be accountable for their own things that they've done, and that eventually these things will catch up and play its role in our community and in our lives. So as we look at all of these things that are happening and you tie it together, I don't know why it's so far-fetched for people to believe that stories from my godson and myself and so many other people are far-fetched. But I think one of the problems, and I'm going back to the route where I started, one of the problems that's been very, very concerning and messy is that people were caught up in the baby daddy stuff. And they forget about the bigger picture. And the baby daddy stuff is important. Don't get me wrong. But the bigger picture is a constitutional issue. If people are not allowed to go into a court of law and get a fair due process, whether they win or lose, we have a cookie that has crumbled in this country. It's pretty much over. And for somebody such as myself, a daughter of a Marine, somebody who fought for this country to be at the place we are, and to live in a community where my mother was political activist and a committee person and stuff, and did things to help change the lives of people, it's not acceptable to be in situations where money, evil, and all these other things are winning or reigning. So as a person, as a citizen, as a woman, as a whatever you want to call it, we need to stand together and try to do what's right. And we do need to pray for a lot of the perpetrators and people that have these problems, because some of them got some issues, and they're pretty deep, y'all. And this is a prime example, young people, why you don't want to go down certain roads, because the devil gets you and put his claws in you, snap claws, grab hold of you, and you'll be caught up in a web. And sometimes those webs are not easy to get out, which is why some people come to spiritually strong people to try to get surrendered and help and rescued from the hands of the devil. And sometimes people call the devil the court. It ain't the court. I mean, it ain't supposed to be. It's really about you as a person being able to deal with your weaknesses and demons and your strength, your weaknesses, in a way that's healthy and makes sense. So today we talked and we called out Murad. I'm going to be talking to him too. He's good. He's a good man. He does great stuff. Just clarifying so people can really understand. Don't go off lost in the sauce, y'all. You know what you're talking about. Try to get yourself educated. I know you ain't got that much time. That's why I'm trying to do my little podcast so you can get it from the horse's mouth. It can be right information and it ain't wrong. And then you can make your decision from there. But at the end of the day, as I started, as going back to where I began, from the situation with, they're talking about the case that we're dealing with is dealing with paternity. Paternity was the underlying issue. It is not, we're dealing with fraud. It's not something my godson or I need to go around and talk about and worry about what people are going to think or say. We were victims. Yes, we were. And at the end of the day, we're at a place where we're trying to get justice, because the judges are the ones who signed the orders. Those are the ones who signed the orders. They took an oath of office and they need to do what's right. So this is why she's dealing with the Diddy case and also the Jay-Z case with the, what do you call it, the 13-year-old allegations. She's doing that as well. I'm not sure if she's going to do everybody's case, because I guess it depends on where people live. We know there's a lot of drama and things going on out there about these cases. And ours is tangled up in trial. We've been doing this since 2010. Wanda Satterthwaite started in 2010 in Philadelphia. And then when she got sick, I brought her child to New Jersey in 2011. At the end of the day, I was just trying to do what any adult would do when you're trying to get the reconciliation of the parent. And there is another story to this, y'all. Y'all don't want to talk about that, that's fine. But you got to deal with the facts, right? You can't go around acting like something else. So I can be doing a lot of things with my time, but I felt compelled. I had a podcast anyway, already talking about my personal story because I wrote a book. Yes, I did, y'all. It's called My Story, Tragedy Turned to Opportunity, where I lost my parents at 11 years old, so forth and so on. And I wanted to talk about my story in that regard, my personal story and my legal story. The legal story just came out of nowhere. I didn't know it was going to be this long, but God called me to it, right? He called me to it. So we got to carry it out. So at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure I came on and talk about that, and to make it known to you, make it, very clear as best I can. And I'm going to say it over and over again about what our situation is, what it is. And I know people sometimes cannot read a complaint. Most complaints have an executive summary. You can read that part, or there's executive summaries out there. We did something, even with United States Supreme Court was able to get that far up in some regards. So what I'm saying to say is we need to pray for this country. We need to pray for the world. We need to think positive. We need to pray for the people that are involved. We need to pray for Diddy and other persons to get saved, for them to come closer to God. I want them to be saved. Diddy, I think you're going to hear this. It's not too late for you. You can pray and ask God to come into your heart and get this thing right. And that maybe perhaps that's why you were seeing TD Jakes, and TD Jakes will be the person to go to. So at the end of the day, Diddy, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for Sean Carter. I'm praying for all and it's not just the Sean Carter, y'all know, it's another Sean Carter out there. It's a couple Sean Carters, we know, y'all. We're praying for all persons involved in this whole shenanigans. But I think that in the prayer, there's a purpose, everybody. There's a purpose, and there's a reason, and there's a plan. And we want you to be a part of it. Don't think that this is the end. This is not the end. If you wake up every day, you have a chance to live again. So God is no respecter of person. And sometimes you get caught up in these evil rituals, these evil things that a lot of folk do, by the way. You call narcissism, what do you call intimidation, all the control. These are the same things. If you have these kind of concerns, you need to look at yourself. You know, it's a full-time job minding your own business, right? So mind your business and take care of your business the way you're supposed to, because that's going to help you be a better person. So at the end of the day, everybody, going back to the beginning, Murat, I want you to know that our case, Rymir does not need to drop anything. He is not looking and seeking any paternity for this case. We're looking for justice as it relates to the judges. I hope we're clear. And there is a complaint out there that you can read. It gives some stuff. It's the stuff from, we have a few complaints that have been over the years, and the narrative pretty much has been the same. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. The other thing is, we talked about the trauma in the court and why we're talking now. First, we can do what we want because that's our own business. Second, there's trauma. There's trauma. There's concerns. There is concerns. There's stuff that happens, y'all. When people, it's not so much as winning and losing. When you got somebody that has the authority to do something and they abuse it, and you hear things and you see things, and even though you might not deal with it right then, it still traumatizes you because first you don't even believe it's happening. That's a fact. So that's the first thing. So there's trauma that deals with court, and you got to deal with your trauma the way you think you should deal with it. And hopefully it's in a positive way. I'm not saying to go and try to shoot nobody up. Don't do none of that. We don't need no more of that. We don't need no more Black men killing each other and killing other people. Got to give a shout out to Uncle Frankie. We lost a great member of our family. Unfortunately, a family member took his life. Couldn't work it out. So we don't need no more shooting, y'all. But we pray that Uncle Frankie will rest in peace. And we thank God for the time we had with him, the wisdom that he gave us, the knowledge, etc. And I'll talk about that later, but I had to say something about Uncle Frankie. So you have what our cases are about. You have trauma that goes along with fraud. This fraud is expensive, especially if somebody's covering up the cover up and you got the judges helping. Then you're going against the grain because, first of all, you can't believe the judges are doing that, but then you really realize that they are. And then we talked about the fires. That what people, what kind of length, what people go through to cover something up. Great. I mean, geez, you wonder, why am I doing this then? Why would you do something? It takes you twice as much time and money to cover it up later. That's a weakness, y'all. That means you got a problem. Because the problem you have has led you to a disaster. Because that's what you're in. You're in a disaster state and can't really get yourself back. But I believe that you can. I believe that you stop, because God loves the underdog, the world loves the underdog, and confess. Two kind of confessions. One, because you want to be a better person. If you want to be a believer, we want you to. And two, confess what you did wrong. And say, hey, you know what? I messed up. And I need to get it together, y'all. So that was the other thing. And then I talked about the Analisa, the judge, and how it was important to have a judge. That's why I'm so excited about her. Keep praying for y'all. Judge Analisa Torres. Analisa Torres. Analisa. Keep praying for her. Because she's under tremendous pressure. And people are trying to throw her some bones so she can live in a mansion and she can do it. She probably already live in one. Or they want to give her a bigger one for fraud or doing something that ain't right. No. When she put her hand up and took an oath of office before the public and before the community, before God, she meant it. And people don't need to buy their way out for justice. You don't need to. If you do, you know you're wrong. Then why would you be worried about it if it's not a problem? So this is a prime example of how things catch up with you. Things happen because you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad to be a part of what I'm glad to be a part of. I'm not really sure, how to say that statement, because I'm not really happy to be a part of a lot of crazy, stinky stuff. I'm not. But I understand that this is part of life and it's a journey. I don't pick fights, but I don't run from them either. And I think that if you want to live again, and you want to do what's right, you got to find ways to do what's right in the eyes of God first, and then yourself. And if you are finding yourself tangled up in your own decisions, the eyes of yourself, and your decisions is leading you down a path of crazy, then that's a problem. And I think you, as a person, want to make some changes. So I'm just happy today, regardless. I'm thankful always anyway. The good, bad, and the ugly. I am. You live to learn to live with those things. So I thank God for all of you. And I'm praying that some of these things we're going to be saying and talking about will help people out there become more thankful and helpful to their community and also to themselves. But we're capping on right now all this drama and stuff from why the fires are happening. Is there a cover up? And then how and why people will go through such great lengths to burn burn up houses, burn up communities, to burn up evidence. But let me tell you something. God has a way. Oh, yeah. Keep living. You ain't got to watch this day and night, but you're going to see God can show you better than he can tell you. He's got all power. He's all knowing. You ain't going to get nothing on God. And one thing I learned about God through all the years is he loves justice. He said it. He said it in the Bible, y'all. So whether you believe it or not, it ain't going to change the facts. It's still true. It is, everybody. I'm on the winning side. I don't like to be on the losing side, so that's why I'm with God, right? Just saying. So at the end of the day, I'm just glad to be here, glad to be able to talk and converse some things, and as I said, clarify some things about a case, and we'll talk off and on what's going on, what's not going on. I wanted some questions, and I don't know if you guys had questions or not, but I wanted some questions, and either you can send them to me. Somebody wants me to come on and talk about the psychological stuff with Kim Porter and what it's like to talk about or to be in and I've never been in an abusive relationship, but some women could not understand why Cassie went through what she went through and why she stayed. And sometimes it's different reasons, can't get in her head. Because people want lifestyles, or they're hoping somebody change, or they might really love the person and hope they change. But certain things people don't always understand why people do what they do. And everybody's temperament and the strength that they have to get away from stuff is different. Like my goddaughter was in an abusive relationship when she was a teenager. And she said that after she got through this domestic stuff, that it took her 5 whole years just to get her head together. Now, the young man who was doing it came from an abusive home. So both his parents were on drugs, heavy. Both his parents died from an overdose. So, some people got real life problems and situations that come up, and everybody don't handle it the same way. It's the same way with me losing my parents. That was different as well, because you don't know what you don't know, but you do know what you do know. And they said that when you know better, you should do better. But that's not always happening with people. So we see here that, like I said, there's sometimes it's a cover up. And people on a everyday status, if you will, normal people, if you will, if they're going through crazy stuff, such as the things that some of us went through, what is it to say what's really going on there at the top? And then also, what is God going to do? Because God's not going to just sit back and let it happen. You're not going to mock him, whether you believe in him or not. You need to have some sort of empathy and sympathy, especially for things that have happened that's been egregious and disgraceful. And as it relates to children, the innocent, God going to step in and he going to make an announcement. He's going to do what he's going to do. So at the end of the day, it behooves us to get out of his way. It behooves us to do what's right in the eyes of the community and ourselves, to give a respect for ourselves. But I get it. People have different beliefs. They don't like this. They don't like that. And I know some of the stuff that has happened is predicated on the dark side. I get it. So I know for me and people I know in my little circle, y'all, we understand that the power of prayer and the power of the universe is in the hands of God. And as a result of that we can will it into the will or the way of the world to some regards. We call it power. We call it anointing. We call it influence. And it's up to the individuals to grab hold, to receive it. Because people like myself is dispersing it. I'm dispersing it even now. I'm dispersing it to the households and the communities and the apartment buildings and the jailhouses, the convicted felons, the liars, the prostitutes, all of those folks that feel like they can't be better. You can. You can be a better person right here and right now. And what you have to do is talk to God about it, walk with God about it, love with God about it, be about it in the name of Jesus, knowing that our God is able. He's able to keep you. So I wanted to just talk about what I need to talk about, everybody. I'm going to be heading out. And like I said, I was looking for some questions. I had gotten some questions about some psychological things that people go through. And I told people I'm not going to really deal with too much psychological stuff because scenarios are very different depending on who you're talking to. And you do have to have some background information. But some things are just common sense too. Some things is common sense. So I think I did everything I wanted to do. Legal cases regarding my godson and myself that spurred from Philadelphia to New Jersey. The Diddy co-conspirators will be named in March. He didn't do what he did by himself. He wanted in February. It will probably be March. They said the end of March. Talking about that situation, keeping abreast on those things that are happening, to pay attention to that whole racketeering, if you will, allegation of people working together synergistically, not just praying for the people, because we're going to pray for you, but you might need to be removed too. So if you're in positions that you ain't supposed to be, you might need to be removed. And I know there's lawyers out there who ain't so great. We didn't been through that. Low down, good for nothing, dirty dog, so to speak. Just saying, that have issues. They have no morals or standards, don't want to uphold the law, but and got a nerve to be a faith people. In their faith, they do this kind of stuff, right? Nobody's buying it. So we want to just talk about that. We want to make sure we keep the judges in all cases around America and this world prayed up, that they won't be looking for a house or looking for somebody to give them something a dirty, nasty, low down way. That they have respect for themselves. That when they get up in the morning, they can look at themselves in the mirror. How about that? And know that the house they live in is a house they got from working and doing what they got to do, and not because they co-conspirated or did all this dirty, nasty stuff against children in the community to get it. No respect for yourself. Have respect, because a house and a car, you can get that stuff. Somebody can give it to you. It's good ways to get things. Ain't that what we tell our children? So we want to pray for the judges. We want to call them out. We want to send good thoughts and words their way, because some of them are under the gun, under pressure for nasty people in the community who seek to buy everything because it's the only way they win. I got to buy you because you wouldn't even like me if I don't buy you. That's why some of them think everything is about money. Yeah, people are so gullible and so whatever, because they want money, they want this, they want that. I get it. But you don't have to lose your soul. You don't have to lose respect for yourself. Respect yourself. It's not about somebody else respecting you. You got to respect yourself. Respect yourself. That goes a long way. Respecting yourself and believing that God has something for you. God's got something for you. You. And you don't need to sell your soul for anybody. So yeah, we want to pray for the judges there. We want to pray for the co-conspirators. We want to stay abreast on what's happening with that. There are tie-ins to some cases that are already out there. They're tying them in. They ain't got nothing to do with me. They tying them in on their own. But at the end of the day, find a way. Maybe your money can buy you some wisdom. Somebody can tell you how to do this right. How to stop the bleeding. How to stop the bleeding, stop the madness, stop the foolishness. Stop all of it. So that you can be better in what you're doing. So I wanted to try to see where there's this last video that I wanted to play. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but because sometimes the sound is not good. But there was a few people that was sending us stuff, and I wanted to play their stuff and then talk about it. You know, just Let's talk about it. Now, I am going to tell you all that Ratchet TV, Ratchet TV, he said that he had been having problems with his volume on his internet, blah, blah, blah. Well, somebody tried to do the same thing with us. And I already know because, again, some of the stuff that we went through before, right? With the same group of people. And now they're doing the same playbook over here. So everybody's comparing notes. But at any rate, low down, good for nothing. I mean, at what point are you going to respect who you are as a person so people can respect you? Because if you can't respect yourself, you're not going to get respect for other people. It's just not going to happen. They might take your money and talk about you, but that's about it. You're not going to get anything after that. So I think we want pretty more than that. All right. Let me see here. We're looking at the dark side of stuff. People are, this is a lot of crazy stuff that's out here. I'm not going to really waste my time on just a whole lot of gossip. I want to deal with factual things, talk about those, and to clarify stuff that we know are lies or not the truth. So that's why I'm here. So I can talk about stuff that actually, is for real, y'all. I don't really care about the gossip stuff because, everybody got opinions and that's all it is. But I don't like to waste my time with it. But I do understand sometimes people want to just run their mouth. Let's see. All right. I don't know whether I could find the video or not, but okay, I guess what I will do is I'm going to play my own video. Just in case y'all ain't see it. I'm going to see whether or not y'all understand some of the stuff I was trying to say, and then go from there. I think the stuff about the trauma was what really got me. We claim to be that came from something else. I couldn't really talk about certain things because of where my mind was for certain things in terms of not knowing what I know now. Because sometimes you don't get a revelation till afterwards, right? And I just wanted to make sure that the revelation I got was what I was supposed to do. In other words, I'm not going to go off on my emotions. That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't want to do the emotion trip because the emotion trip is usually not good. But I was trying to talk about the triggers because the triggers are very important in our journey. That's what I'm getting at. So I was trying to see how long this was because I don't want to play nothing too long. Yeah. So, but at any rate, I'll do that another time because it doesn't matter at this point. But yes, thank you all so much for being a part of the Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I'm going to be coming on off and on to try to talk about different things that are happening currently, and so that you can get a better understanding of what's happening with me, my godson, and then there's some other things. I will be talking about other subjects. I will not be inundated by one subject. But the whole point is trying to clarify and make sure everybody knows what's going on, to empower you, to help you help yourself, and to be encouraged. Don't be discouraged about your own story. We'll be to have some of you come on next time and just talk about what you want to talk about regarding your story, and maybe perhaps we can connect you to some good attorneys. We do have good attorneys who are working in certain legal clinics to help people behind the scenes on what they need help with so that they can feel more confident in going into the court, especially if they don't have an attorney. So be encouraged. Just take one day at a time. Look for opportunities to be an example. Be positive. Be what you want other people to be. It's always for you first. So I just feel very strong about some of the things I've been seeing and hearing. And I just feel that we as a country have to come together and be together about what we need to be together, not just tear each other down and say how wrong people are, but also to encourage people to make changes, to be a change maker, so to speak, so they can really have an influence. And then to keep your eyes open about what you see, when the things that you see in terms of the burns, the fire burning, supposedly a lot of evidence is burning with it. But I promise you, Just mark this down. I promise you. Whatever in the dark is going to come to the light. God knew what was going to happen before it happened. And at the end of the day, he's over the universe, that I believe, and I know he has a way to navigate the truth to where it needs to be. So justice will be served in a way that seems and is right to the best of the human ability. Because nothing's going to be 100% perfect, because you're dealing with imperfect people. But yet and still, we can, as a country, as a citizens, so forth and so on, we can still make it and be what we need to be. We need to be, right, everybody? I was looking because somebody just sent me something. But yeah, so thank you so much. I'm looking forward to talking with you soon down the road as we go forth to carry out the community work, community services, community things that we need to carry out as a people. We need to carry certain things out so that we can be a better country, be a better neighbor, be a better city. But thank you all so much. This is Lillie Coley, Dr. Lillie M. Coley. I'm signing out on Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.